So the new siphon has arrived for the Maze toilet. So I'm gonna have a go. I've just taken that off there because this bit's already in the cistern. Now I don't need them because it's already plumbed into the cistern. So I'm hoping that I can just put that back on the existing downpipe, this thing that's in there already, and then connect it up. I'm hoping that will just all connect. So the main thing is whether that will fit the existing downpipe. So let's see what happens on the the down well of the cistern, basically. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, so the shaft that was broken is just the thing that this hook is attached to, the sort of vertical, this shaft here. That's what's sheared off the other one. So yeah, so we'll give that a go now. Just slid on to the little slot, the notches there nicely. It does fit nicely there, screwed onto the existing downpipe part, so I don't have to do any taking of cisterns off or anything like that. And now actually what I need to do, because the rod and the hook are slightly different angles for inserting, I'm just going to have to loosen this little rod here from the lever, so that I can just get the hook through the hole at the right angle, and then put the rod back in again. So it just requires me to loosen the screw, turn the rod to the right angle, so I can put the hook into the hole and so on, and then rotate it. It should be fine. Put the cotter pin back in again, and hopefully that should be it. So just by loosening this screw with a screwdriver, it allows me just to rotate this rod, and then I could get the hook through the hole, and then I can slide it up and then rotate the rod back to where it was again, because it'll be sort of at this angle. It'll be 90 degrees. That way when I hook it through, and then I tighten the screw up again on here. So the rod is now lined up there with the hole sideways. I've sort of had to move this along slightly to line it up a bit better with maybe that's why it sheared off. It wasn't quite lined up at the right point on this spindle here. But now when I pull that, it's going to nicely plunging up and down on the rod. The sort of piston down there. So, and I was going to put the cotter pin. So I've tightened this at the end here. I was going to put the cotter pin there. I line this up so it's at the right angle for flushing. So when I pull that, it just pulls that up. So I'll put the cotter pin in, and then we'll fill it with water and give it a go. So I just push this pin in, and then just bent one end back so it won't move now. There's a little plastic washer on that side just to protect it when it turns. It doesn't damage this sort of part here. So if I just do that, it's working fine. So I'm gonna let the water in now by just unscrewing and opening up this, just like a quarter of a turn there, so that's pointing upwards. So that'll let the water into the cold water intake, then should fill up, and we'll give it a go. Actually quite clever, this has been a quiet refill, because it's sort of got this little plastic bag here that the water flows down into and goes into the bottom there, which means instead of like there being a sort of splashy noise as the water drips and hits this, it's actually just going feeding into the cistern at a lower level and just therefore quietly filling, which is quite a nice design actually. It looks like it's just reached its level on this there. So we'll give it a go and see if this works. So I had to make a few little adjustments, which involved sort of using the old original hook there, so it was the right sort of dimensions and everything, and also just ensuring that this was not too tight, but also just tight enough so that it wouldn't slip on the current thread with the new top onto the existing downpipe. And just a slight adjustment here on this, just so that the water level rose slightly a bit more. It's a very slight, like a couple of half turns or whatever there of that. And in doing that, I think we now have it all working nicely. So let's give it a test. I'll put the lid on and we'll give it a test. In the end, I reverted to putting the old fitting back there, using the old hook and simply replacing the internal rod there, the sort of piston, which was fully attached to the sort of plastic flap thing that comes up and that pushes it up and down. And just using the old components, because the old components all were sort of fitted perfectly. Whereas when I put this in, it flushed, but it doesn't, not perfect every time, and I you know, there'd be just something not quite right with the angle of the rod and how it was pulling things up and all that. So reverters are doing that, and giving that a go. So that does work. That's good.